The National Police Service is about to recruit. And there is one very, very important thing that people don't know, or I think it is the most important thing according to recruitment, but people take least interest in it. And the thing that people talk about is aptitude test. In every recruitment in the National Police Service, there is something that is called aptitude test. It is very important, but very few talk about it. The purpose of this episode is to explain what an aptitude test is, to explain and to expound. I would request you to bring this to the attention of all potential recruits in the forthcoming exercise. You will hear aptitude test, aptitude test. I don't know whether other professions also have aptitude tests, but I'm talking, I don't even know whether KDF have an aptitude test, but I'm talking about aptitude test in the National Police Service. I do believe that even if you are related to Douglas Kanja, the Inspector General of Police, there are two things he cannot assist you. He cannot assist you in aptitude tests, and he cannot assist you in medical tests. I know, even during our time, and I'm even sure right now, the only difference is that things have changed slightly. It's a bit harder for some of those things. During our time, it used to be open, but nowadays it's a bit harder for those things to be open. But even if you can be assisted today, there are two things that you cannot be assisted by either person from National Police Service Commission or even the recruiting officer. They cannot assist you in aptitude tests, which we are going to talk about today, and they cannot assist you on medical tests. Because today we are talking about aptitude test, allow me to comment in passing about medical tests. I wish someone in the medical field had a detailed explanation, because even before I joined the police, someone would just tell you that nitakusaidia kila kitu, lakini hapo kwa medical siwezi kukusaidia. That is how things have been. Anybody can assist you, but when it comes to matter of medical, he cannot assist you. But in brief, the nature of police in Kenya and but in brief, the nature of the police in Kenya is that the National Police Service is a paramilitary one. You go to other countries, you find that police officers do not undergo paramilitary training. If you look at the training in Kiganjo and in training in other places, you'll find that the Kiganjo training is more of a paramilitary, or it has an element of paramilitary to an extent of, one can say 40% of the training in Kiganjo is paramilitary. So the question comes of medical. And issues with paramilitary require a physically fit individual. It requires an individual who is physically fit. The medical tests go for hate, because in a crowd control, when you're controlling a crowd, the people at the back need to see you. when they are pushing, and then you also have to go to, there is a crowd and people are pushing forward. If you are short, the people at the back will not know that it is a security officer who is pushing back the people. But if you are taller than the people ahead of the crowd, the people at the back will notice that there is a security officer who is controlling the crowd, and they will have to cooperate. So that explains about hate. You do not have the medical also tests to see that you do not have illness such as TB. Some of this illness that they go for is good to understand, because if you are somebody with TB and you have to be posted in cold places, or you have to do night beats and night patrols, then you'll have it a bit hard medically to cope with that. You need a good eyesight to aid you in firing a gun. You also need a good eyesight to, you can monitor things from a distance if you have a good eyesight. I was employed when I did not have a good eyesight. Let me also comment on that quickly before we go to today's topic. When it reached the time for checking of eyesight, they started off with Form 6s. And at that place, Madare Police Depot, all the Form 6s were failing eye tests. The second last one, because I was the last on the line of the Form 6s, the second last one was having a problem. He was trying to cover his eye, but he was pressing the eye. So they would tell him, relax. And as he was relaxing, I had already entered that exam room. And I saw if you look at the eye test, the first letter is usually one big one. Then the second one are 2, 3, 4, up to 8. So I started cramming. When it reached my time, I didn't even look at the board. I said, ile iko moja peke yake ni D, na zile ziko mbili ni XQ, zile ziko tatu ni MNQ. I just continued that way until the end. And before they wanted also to counter check. They tell you, okay, hapa mbele, rudi nyuma, nini. But then they asked me, what is your level of education? I said Form 6. Then they said, hey, Form 6 walikuwa wameanguka macho yote. Iko mmoja ako na macho afadhali. That is how I was taken with poor eyesight. But I've explained about medical. Let us now concentrate on aptitude test, because today's shooting is about aptitude test, and it is about aptitude test, which is very, very important. In a simple language, in a simple sentence, an aptitude test is an assessment of your strengths and weaknesses, giving you and the evaluator an idea of your ability. I'll repeat that one again because that is today's topic. An aptitude test is an assessment of your strengths and weaknesses, giving you and the evaluator an idea of your ability. In one sentence, we can say you are being tested on personal initiative. Personal initiative. You don't have to have a degree. Personal initiative is an inborn thing. And National Police Service, they prefer employing people who are very good in personal initiative. And hence, the importance of aptitude test. Let me give you an example. During my recruitment, I was number 11 countrywide out of 300 recruits. We were 300 recruits, although those who completed were 272. Those who completed were 272. But out of 300, I was number 11. And out of the 600, out of the 300, not 600, out of the 300, We were 6 Form 6s. We were 6 Form 6s. The late David Wycliffe Kwatemba was number 8, and I was number 11 out of 300 in aptitude test. Obote, a nephew of the then Councillor Mukolwe, was in squad 3, meaning his aptitude test, he was around number 60. Njuguna was in squad 5 or 6, I can't be sure. So you can see that Njuguna was in aptitude test was number 100 and something, yet he was a Form 6. The person who passed well in aptitude test during my time, October 1982, was Harriet Hondewa. From Marsabit, who had never stepped in Form 1. But when it came to aptitude test, he was number 1 countrywide. And even Ali Yaromire, who was number 2 countrywide, was also a primary school leaver, who was a primary school leaver who was number 2 countrywide. And you can see Form 6s we were coming up there, number 8 and number 11. So aptitude is not education that you went. You can have your PhD and you can have somebody with KCPE, but his personal initiative, which is aptitude test, is higher than you. As I said that this is an IQ test. Actually, it is an IQ test, and there is no need for those who want to join the police. There is no need for cramming or even preparing. The best preparation is to relax. From now on, until you have handed in your answer sheet for the aptitude test. The examiner, now let me tell you how aptitude tests are set. You can even find that someone who is setting the aptitude test for the oncoming the recruit course, he's working in Kiganjo, or she may be working in Kiganjo, and they want to go for a promotion course. They'll also be given an aptitude test, and a police officer from Turkana, working in Turkana, not from Turkana, but working in Turkana, will do the same aptitude test with them, and you'll find that the aptitude test, the person who sets other aptitude tests will find you can even overtake him, because IQ is an inborn thing. It's an inborn thing. It is not something that you train anybody. The only thing I can train you is relax from this moment to the time you complete your examination in aptitude test. Let me now give an example of how aptitude tests are set. The examiner comes up with, say, for example, an examiner can come up with 100 questions. The examiner can come up with 100 questions. The examiner knows very well that an intellectual would answer the questions in 30 minutes. The examiner knows that an intellectual would answer the questions in 30 minutes. So, the examiner sets the time limit to 20 minutes. These are questions which take 30 minutes to answer, but you are given 20 minutes to answer. Meaning that answering everything is almost impossible. So, the thing is quick thinking. Yeah, I said personal initiative. Now I have come up with another word that means quick thinking. You have to be a quick thinker. So in the unlikely chance that you have a leak, what you call Mwakenya, you cannot answer those questions, all the questions, in the given time. So This is one exam that I'll tell you that if you find that you have not answered all the questions, don't worry. The trick I can tell a potential recruit is answer as quickly as possible. We, the mathematicians, would love to prove through long multiplication how we came up with an answer. For example, you would be asked, what is the answer of 37 times 27? You will come and draw something like nyumba ya ghorofa, and then at the end of it, come and say this. In aptitude test or testing your IQ, they just ask you, what is 37 times 27? You just put there an answer, blah, blah, blah. Without doing, you see, you put it this way, and then whatever, then you draw, and if you go through all that period, you'll take time. Remember, the longer you spend in one question, the longer you steal into the time of another question. So the question is, answer as many as possible and as quickly as possible. As you look at the question paper, you'll find that question 2, 3, 6, 7, 9, 13, etc. are easy. Kindly go for them. Go for them while leaving space for the other questions that you are jumping. So that when you have answered all that you can quickly answer, then you start answering those that took time to calculate. There are some questions that you can answer in 2 seconds and others you can answer in 2 minutes. Start with those that are the fingertips. That is, start with those ones that you can answer in 2 seconds. Then go for the average that you can answer for 30 seconds. Then go for the ones which you can answer for 1 minute. And I can assure you that even before you reach the hard ones, the time is over. The 2 minutes you take in a hard question is equivalent to answering over 20 simple questions. So go for the simple question, answer those, and then go for the average. And I can assure you that those ones which are very hard, kina Bodmas and whatever, I'm only giving a mathematical example, but those things that you're asked, which you have to give a long story, answer them at the end. The simple thing is you don't have to follow at lazima you answer question 1 before you go to question 2, you go to 3. You go for those that you see are easy. Answer them. Another thing that aptitude test assists is in squadding. Another thing that it assists in squadding. As I said, out of the 6 Form 6s, 2 of us, me and Kwatemba, the late Kwatemba, were in squad 1. But what is important is that we were placed in a squad of people who are naturally bright. People who are naturally bright, and it is not that they were the people who would, they were not bookworms. So it assisted us in being allocated together with people who are naturally bright. So, and also it assists you in getting a false number. That is why I say it is good for you when you are being trained as a recruit to be very careful with aptitude test. It is a test that you can't know what is coming. And since you don't know what is coming, you can't prepare for it. But the secret of aptitude test is a simple one: personal initiative and a person who can think on his or her feet. And also, when you think and do things on your feet, try to go for the easy questions first, and then average, and later on you'll finish off with the hard questions. In that way, you will succeed. I believe this is very important to all people who want to go to be recruited, especially in the National Police Service. So please pass the information to any person who would want to go and line up. Thank you and God bless you.